Am I sunburned? Yeah, that's how awesome Civil War was. Its first weekend box office results are in, and Captain America Civil War broke the top 5 all-time openings. Today I'm going to analyze that opening, extrapolate the data to see how much money the movie can make overall, and compare it to other blockbusters. Welcome to TV Junkie. Today, a box office breakdown for Captain America Civil War. Captain America Civil War is the 13th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the third film in the Captain America series concluding the trilogy. It features characters from 10 Marvel films so far and introduces 2 characters that are getting their own films in the near future. So is this a Captain America film or is this an Avengers film? The film itself is very much a sequel to The Winter Soldier, but it's been sold to us as an all-star superhero extravaganza. So that said, I'm going to be comparing the box office results of Civil War to both the Captain America films and the Avengers films. Civil War opened to $182 million, the 5th largest opening weekend of all time. The Avengers sits at number 3 on the list with $207 million, and Age of Ultron opened last summer to $191 million. Meanwhile, the prior 2 Captain America films opened to $65 million and $95 million. In fact, Civil War's first 3 days earned more money than the first Avenger did in its entire run. As the third film in the Captain America series, its opening is a resounding success. However, as a sequel to last year's Age of Ultron, Civil War's opening is still actually pretty good. It opened within $10 million of last year's Ultron. Now, do you think the value of having the word Avengers in the title is worth $9 million? If you do, then it's safe to say that Captain America Civil War's opening, if marketed and sold as a true Avengers film, could have matched or surpassed Age of Ultron. Civil War's opening weekend dropped off 5% from Age of Ultron. Now, let's pretend that this is a direct sequel to Age of Ultron. Franchises that release direct sequels every year generally feature larger opening drop-offs than what Civil War endured. The second Hobbit film dropped 13% from its first, and the third Hobbit film dropped 26% from the second. Pirates of the Caribbean 3, released less than a year after the second, dropped 16%. This all makes Civil War's 5% drop from Age of Ultron look good in comparison, and if you compare it to The Winter Soldier, the opening is almost twice as large. Of course, Civil War is going to be mostly compared to the other big superhero brawl film released earlier this year, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. BVS had a better opening day, earning $81 million compared to Civil War's $75, but BVS dropped like a rock on its second day with $51 million, while Civil War held steady with $61 million. On Sunday, BVS earned $33 million, Civil War $45 million. So Batman v Superman was definitely a heavily front-loaded film, perhaps one of the most front-loaded films we've seen in recent memory, and while Civil War was still front-loaded on Friday to a degree, the audience, like with most Marvel films, was spread out throughout the weekend, and the less than steep drop-off compared to BVS indicates that Civil War should have stronger legs moving forward. Compared to Age of Ultron, Civil War had a slower Friday and Sunday, but outperformed Ultron on Saturday. Last year, Ultron opened on the same weekend as the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, because I watched it and it was awful, which analysts believe suppressed Ultron's opening weekend. Now let's compare the results of Civil War's opening weekend to the industry predictions. About a month before release, Civil War was tracking for a $175 million opening. MoviePilot.com predicted a $178 million opening in early April. After the very early glowing reviews started rolling in, hype built, and in May, Fandango reported Civil War broke the pre-sale record. After this news broke, expectations started skyrocketing. BoxOffice.com predicted a $214 million opening. BoxOfficeGuru.com was more modest, expecting $185 million, while users on the Hollywood Stock Exchange predicted an opening around $190 million or $200 million. In the end, Civil War did fall short of these lofty, hype-induced expectations, but still managed to land a top 5 all-time opening, which is nothing to cry about. Now that the film is open, the question is, what kind of legs will it have? The Winter Soldier made 37% of its money on opening weekend, Age of Ultron 42%. If Civil War follows the Winter Soldier's path, it should end up with around $490 million. If it's like Ultron, it will end around $430 million. I will assume the film will have strong legs since it's one of the best reviewed Marvel films by critics and audiences. I think $440 through $480 million is a good prediction for Civil War's total run in North America, which would be a little more than Ultron and in the list of the top 10 all-time domestic successes. For comparison, Batman v Superman should end its run somewhere around $335 million. Now let's see how Civil War is doing around the rest of the world. Its $200 million opening a week ago was an Ant-Man sized drop-off from the international opening of Age of Ultron. Ultron ended up earning $946 million internationally, whereas Iron Man 3 a few years ago made $806 internationally. My guess is that Civil War ends up with somewhere around $820 to $860 million internationally. My prediction then for Civil War's total global box office gross is $1.26 billion through $1.34 billion. Iron Man 3 earned $1.2 billion globally, while Ultron earned $1.4 billion. This will make Civil War the 25th film ever to make more than $1 billion worldwide, assuming it's not beaten by The Jungle Book or Zootopia. One of the top 10 best grossing films ever, and the third biggest moneymaker in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and another sign that Marvel is still the king of Hollywood, even if the franchise reached its peak with the Avengers in 2012. And that's all I've got. I hope you enjoyed this box office breakdown for Captain America Civil War. Please, let's have a conversation in the comments below. Let's talk about the film. Let's talk about the box office. Subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. Stay tuned for more here on TV Junkie. I might do a sort of review on Civil War early next week. I loved it. I don't think it's the best Marvel film, and I look forward to maybe explaining why I feel that way. Anyways, that's all I've got for now. Have a great day.